Hello and welcome to the Intel Brief. Today is Friday, the 29th of May. I'm your host Daniel, and today we're going to talk about Iran and the US have reached a deal to extend the ceasefire pending Trump's approval. Romania has said that a Russian drone has hit a block of flats, injuring 2 people. And Anthropic's valuation surges to $965 billion, surpassing OpenAI. So firstly, the United States and Iran reached an agreement on Thursday to extend their ceasefire and lift restrictions on shipping through the Straits of Hormuz, sources told Reuters, though US President Donald Trump has yet to approve of it, and the Iranian state media said that it had not yet finalized the deal. According to 4 sources familiar with the matter, the agreement would extend the truce for another 60 days and allow traffic to flow through the strategic waterway while negotiations tackle difficult issues such as Iran's nuclear program. So what? This shit is giving me whiplash. I mean, this is the difficulty of trying to cover something like this every day because there's so much back and forth that you can hardly get your fucking head around it most of the time. Coming out from, striking each other yesterday to today saying that, we're close to an agreement seems pretty crazy to me. It does seem possible that a deal can be reached, but in my opinion, I don't think it'll be a good deal for the US. The US currently lacks the leverage to get what they want from Iran, which I think is the difficulty that Trump is currently dealing with. And is still also a possibility, pretty classic intelligence move here, just sitting on the fence, that we will see a slow escalation and basically a breakdown of the negotiations as each side strikes each other, trying to appear like they are in this better position and have more leverage in the negotiations. Yeah. And next, NATO member Romania said on Friday that a drone injured 2 people in a southeastern city during a Russian attack overnight on a neighboring Ukrainian neighborhood. The first time in the war that a drone has hit a densely populated area in Romania and caused injuries. The incident in Romania, also who was also a member of the European Union, in case you needed to know that, is likely to increase tensions on NATO's eastern flank at a time when Ukrainian allies are worried about Russia's war on its neighbor spilling over the border areas. Weird thing to add on there. So what? I mean, I think it's likely that the drone that hit Romania was due to jamming or another fault, and that Russia wasn't attempting to directly target Romania. That would be something else entirely. And I think it's likely to split people. You'll see the pro-Ukrainian sides calling out Russia, trying to bring in more European support for this, and the pro-Russian sides trying to excuse it, also looking to blame Ukraine and kind of divert attention away from it. That's the 2 narratives that you're likely to see today following this incident. But I think it's highly unlikely to amount to anything outside of strong words. I think it's highly unlikely that there'll be any form of NATO retaliation or anything like that. We may see NATO step up air defense efforts around border regions, but that'll be about it. Yeah. Oh, and also strong words. They're going to say a lot of stuff today. And lastly, Anthropic said on Thursday that it had raised $65 billion at a post-money valuation of $965 billion as it aims to bolster its computing capacity to meet growing demands for its chatbot Claude and to scale its products. The new valuation after this Series H funding round, puts Anthropic ahead of OpenAI, last valued at $852 billion post-money in March. I don't know what post-money means there. Interesting. Intensifying a fierce battle between the two for dominance over the rapidly evolving AI sector. So I just thought this was a pretty interesting story as Anthropic recently pushed back on the US military around AI use. So just a bit of background, Anthropic had a defense contract with, US defense, clearly, around AI use, but when they were renegotiating the contract, they put a clause in there saying that it could not be used for 2 things, one of them being direct, AI automated killing. And this caused a massive issue with the US government, with Trump and Pete Hegseth both going after the company pretty publicly and them losing the contract, which, OpenAI did some pretty shady stuff, made a few interesting public remarks, and then slipped in there and picked up the contract for themselves. So yeah, this kind of blew up a bit in the media, and I found it quite interesting. And it's also extremely interesting that they seem to have only benefited from it. So, maybe there's some kind of willingness in the consumer market to have kind of some pushback around AI use, especially when it comes to the military. And also, OpenAI, I think, is still struggling with profitability. Anthropic seems to have gained significant market share when it comes to corporate clients, and through that have made significantly more money than OpenAI. So that's probably also hurting their valuation. But, just an interesting story to round out the week. That's been your Intel Brief. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you again on Monday. See you.